Welcome to today's Q Master class on Q Types Systems installation. Today is 1st October 2021. I'm Sagar Nandi. You already have my detail. Let's start with the disclaimer. I am not an investment advisor. This demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. In the Q Master class, we are going through all the Q systems and the underlying platforms one by one. Today, I am to cover the installation of Q type systems, that is diary, index, vital, age, seasonality, and also Q symbol. Today's topics, Q types installation. It is not a comprehensive training on Q type systems. There will be separate sessions for each of them. It covers the installation steps of the Q type systems. All these systems rely on Metastock Zenith or Refinitiv Icon real-time data. We'll cover how to download the latest version, installing Q types, license activation, validating once the installation is complete. Along the way, I will walk through the actual installation process. Q&A is not at the end. You may ask questions anytime using the chat panel, or you may unmute yourself if you would like to. Download. The latest version may be downloaded from your personalized download page where you log in following this link. These are the Q type systems you may download: diary, index, vital, age, seasonality, which actually has two programs inside that, and then Q symbol. Let's do the download. If you go to the website sagarnandi.com, you may go to the download page by clicking this green download menu item. Click that, it will go to the address that I showed in the PowerPoint. Let me log in using my ID. This is my personalized download page, and I have all the type systems. This is for Zoom meeting password, the usual Zoom meeting password, not the master class. I don't need to download that now. I will download all the other systems. When you click on any of these links, it will download the system into your usual download folder. For me, that is the download folder on my computer. Let me click on them one by one, and you can see on the browser it is showing that Vital is downloading. Now age, index, diary, symbol, seasonality. I am opening the Explorer. Not this one. These are the files downloaded from the personalized download page. Let's see the next step for installation. Go back to the slide. We have downloaded. Next is installation. Before the install, you may backup. For backup, simply make a compressed zip file of all the Excel files, Excel SM. These are Microsoft Excel files. Simply create a compressed file of these and save it. For any kind of backup, including QDives backup, it is better to save it on a cloud folder like Dropbox or OneDrive. If you don't backup, that is also fine for these systems, because you may anytime download the latest version from the personalized download page. Usually we don't save any changes in these Dives programs. There is one exception though, that is QDiary. If you are using QDiary, then you fill that up with your trade data. You may back that up in that case. No harm. If you are backing up QDiary, you may back up all the files as well. If you are not using QDiary, then this backup step is optional because you are always able to download the latest version from the website. Now I'll carry out the installation steps. It is quite straightforward compared to QElite or QGlobal. I'll follow the steps, and the steps are also documented on the website sagarnandy.com under category Q install and then further subcategory QDives install. Is there any difference between fresh versus incremental installation? Not really. For fresh installation, remove existing QDives files from the working folder. That is all. That is the XLSM files, Excel files. And there are some DLLs that come as part of QDives. However, for fresh installation, like in case of Elite and Global, it is not required to remove the QDLLs. Simply, you may remove the XLSM files. What is the DLL location in case you wanted to remove it? For 64-bit Windows and 64-bit Excel. If you are using 64-bit for both Windows and Excel, then the folder where the DLLs are located, that is C:\Windows System 32. And for those same version, 64-bit Windows, 64-bit Excel, the DLLs are these two files with prefix VLQH. For other Windows and Excel versions, for example, if you are using 64-bit Windows but 32-bit Excel, then the folder location may be different. I will not go through all the possible folder locations. Refer to the forum post regarding the actual DLL files. The names may be different and also the location may be different. If you are using different versions of Windows and Excel, you may refer to the post here. I will not go through that. Most of the Q traders have now moved on to 64-bit Windows and 64-bit Excel, and for that the DLL location is System 32 under Windows. Installation is quite straightforward. Once you extract the XLSM from the downloaded files, just place it in your working folder. For DLL, you copy them to the DLL location. This is required only for the new installation. If you have already placed the DLLs in the DLL folder for the first time installation, subsequent releases will not need you to place the DLL files again. Remember, after you install, when you run QDives programs, you may not want to open Excel and then open QDives programs. You may open the program Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel, not the usual Excel file. If you use the usual Excel file, most of the time it will work, but sometimes it may not work. So why bother to take that chance? Always use the Refinitiv icon, Microsoft Excel, open this program, and then open QEdge, QVital, QIndex, etc. That's how I run QDives programs. I'll show that. Also, set the Refinitiv data refresh to value other than streaming. It's of no practical use to keep it to streaming because QEdge, QVital, these together process thousands of stocks, hundreds of industries, tens of sectors. If you put it to streaming, every tick by tick for every stock, it will try to update everything. That is not required for industry sector rotation analysis, also not required for fundamental peer analysis. Certainly not required for seasonality analysis. So no point keeping it in streaming. You may set it to other values. The typical values traders use are 1, 2, 5, or 10 minutes. I tend to use either 1 or 2 minutes. If it is a powerful computer, leave it to 1 minute. If you are traveling with a laptop, maybe not as powerful as your desktop, you may leave it to 2 or 5 minutes, depending on how powerful the laptop is. For desktop, usual trading computer, you may leave it to 1 or 2 minutes, not beyond that. By not putting it in streaming, will significantly speed up all the QDives performance. And after the install, you may back up again. Again, this is optional because you may always download the latest version from the website. Let's go through these steps now. Let me open another folder. My usual working folder. Okay, let me place them side by side. On the left-hand side, my downloaded Dives programs, and on the right-hand side, under C:, not under my documents folder, which is under C drive, documents, Q icon, I have the existing programs. If I wanted to back up, I may select all of them and use the compressing program to create a compressed file. Then delete the current versions. It is giving an warning because QEdge is running. So let me close QEdge. Try again. We have removed. So we have removed the existing programs. We have created a backup before that. And if we wanted to look at the DLL files, they are under Windows, that is under C:, Windows, then System 32. System 32. These are the programs. For 64-bit Windows, 64-bit Excel, it will be only the ones with 64, that suffix in the files. I have already placed the files here, but let me do a fresh installation. So I'm going to remove the DLL files as well. All the ones that has a prefix VLQH. It will prompt for administration confirmation. Do this for all items. Continue. All the QH DLL files are removed. Now let's install the files one by one. All we have to do is, okay, let me create another folder, another explorer. Go back to my documents, Q icon folder. This is my working folder. You may have a documents queue, something like that, or you may give any name that you want. I usually give Q icon or Q. Let's install QEdge first. Once we install QEdge, most of the steps for the other DIVES programs will also be completed. So this is QEdge. All we have to do is take it from the compressed file and put it in the working folder. That is done. And I kept the DLL location in another Explorer. So these are the DLL files. You may drag and drop them into the DLL folder. It will ask for administrator permission. I have administrator permission. Confirm. It has placed the DLLs in the DLL folder. I may close that now. So QEdge installation is complete. For the other DIVE systems, I go back to the download folder. Let me do them one by one. Diary. I have to get the Excel file into my working folder. That's it. The DLL I have already placed in my DLL folder, so I don't have to do anything. For every other program, I just need to get the Excel file or files and put it in my working folder. I am dragging and dropping. Okay, so that is done. When I will open these programs, let me close and show. When we open these programs, we open it using this Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel program. That is what I have put on my Windows Start, this menu bar. I didn't pin Microsoft Excel because I always want to open this program, not Microsoft Excel itself. Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel. Let me do that. I want to show you where to set the streaming option. When you open this program, Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel, it opens Excel with the icon menu bar. To save display space, you can see I have hidden the menu. That's what I always do when trading. I don't want to see unnecessary things. To open the menu, click on this arrow at the top right corner and show tabs and comments. For hiding, click on this top arrow and auto hide ribbon. That way we don't have to waste display space. But for now, let me show tabs and comments. When you run not Microsoft Excel, but Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel, that's using this program, Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel. Then this menu option comes, Refinitiv icon. When you run it, it usually automatically logs into Refinitiv. For some reason, if it is not logged in, you may open the Refinitiv icon menu bar and you can check if it is online or not. If it is online, it shows in green color. Let me disconnect it. If you click on the online button, no, okay, I don't know how to go offline, but that's fine. If it is not online, it will be not green color. Not online will be not green, offline will be not green. In that case, if you click it, it will be online. If it is online, it's fine. I don't seem to have a way to go offline. That's fine. I don't need to go offline. Usually we need from offline to online. So you may check that it is green if DIVES programs are not working. So it is green, fine. Once it is green, you are online, you may set the streaming options under setting. Click on setting. It will open a dialog. Click on data retrieval. Then go to function. And if it is streaming, uncheck streaming, set to refresh frequency. And as I mentioned, you may set anything from 1 to maybe 5-10 minutes. Maximum 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you are traveling with a lower power laptop. For desktop, as you can see, I set it to 1 minute. And remember to change it. By default, if it is second, remember to change it to minutes. Once you do that, you are required to apply. But you can see my apply button is grayed out because I didn't make any changes. Let me do that. Just for demonstration, I changed it to 2. We have to apply, and you see the message at the top. Any changes made to the settings will take effect when you restart Refinitiv icon Microsoft Office. When you restart Refinitiv icon, that means just applying is not enough. We have to close Refinitiv icon and reopen again. So I'm going to apply, close this dialog. You can close Microsoft Excel with icon by clicking the close Windows button. Now, sometimes I have seen that is not enough. You can see this process. That is the Microsoft icon process, and you can see my icon is running. If icon is running, you may close icon first, this program, and then you right click on the taskbar process and shut it down. That is to ensure that the stream setting that we changed to 2 minutes interval, that is saved properly. So I'm going to do that now. Clear all drawings. First, close icon. In fact, icon that I am closing now, it is not required to keep that running for DIVES programs. I closed icon and then come to this Refinitiv icon process, right click on it and click shutdown. You are signing out of Refinitiv icon. Yes, that's fine. I know that. Confirm that if that message comes. Now Refinitiv icon is shut down. Now I think the setting is saved permanently for the user ID. Sometimes I have seen for some traders that the streaming setting was not being saved. I have found, at least for my account, if I shut down icon and the taskbar icon process and then open, then it is saved properly. So if you see your streaming setting is not getting saved, you may shut down not only Excel, but icon and then even the icon taskbar processing. Now I'm going to open Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel again to see if the streaming option is now saved properly. I don't need to open any file for checking the settings. So let me just go here. I don't need any file, close that, go to icon. Yes, this is what I wanted to show. See, it is offline. If you see it is offline, you may click here and it will go online. But if you run the DIVES programs, click play, usually it takes you online anyway. But sometimes if you see after clicking play, it is not retrieving data, you may come to Refinitiv icon and check that it is online or not. Now it is not online. I didn't open any DIVES program. I didn't click the play button. So if you just click on the offline, you see it is saying connecting. It opens the progress bar for connection and it will turn green when the connection is complete, and only after that you will be able to access the settings button. The settings are stored in the cloud, not on the local computer, so you need to go online first before accessing the setting. And now it is online, green color. Let's go to settings. Go to data retrieval. Go to function and you see refresh frequency, it's set properly. I prefer 1 minute, but that's fine. I'll change it later after the webinar. Let's continue. Now I keep it to my usual hidden menu bar hidden way. So auto hide ribbon, I have more disk space now. Now to open the files, you may pin the programs. So when you go to Microsoft Excel file, I clicked Alt F, then you see the recent files. From the recent files, you may click this to pin it and again click to unpin it. If you pin a file like QH Vital Index, it will show up in the pinned tab. So what I have done, you can see all the QDives programs that I use all of them. I have pinned it. So how to pin it? Open it one time, and once you have opened it, you use this button. Now it is showing unpinned because it is already pinned. If it is not pinned, it will show pin. And if you click pin, it will appear in the pin tab. That's what I have done. Let's open QH. It is in the same location, the usual location, my documents queue icon working folder. So now I'm opening the updated version of QH. But let's go back to, I'll not run it now. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. See the next step. We have done the installation steps. I think all of them. We backed up, removed the older files, got the latest DLLs, got the latest XLSM, use the Refinitiv Icon Microsoft Excel program, and we also set the streaming parameter. Next is license activation. Similar to QGlobal, save your computer's hardware ID. Similar, but the hardware ID is slightly different. So we may generate the hardware ID again, save it on the download page from where we downloaded the DIVES programs, we save the hardware ID there. This needs to be set only for the first time you install the QDives and only once for all the QDives. So if we have done it for QH, we don't have to do it again because the hardware ID remains the same. All the programs using Icon, they have a single hardware ID, and all the programs that is QGlobal, they have a separate ID that is using Metastock. QDives all use Icon, they have the same ID. Not required to set the hardware ID again if you are installing a newer version of QDives. If you change your computer, you may save the new computer's hardware ID in the same personalized download page that will transfer the license to the new computer. As was in the case of QGlobal, QTraders may save all the, they have 2, 3, 4, 5 computers. They may save all the computers' hardware IDs in the download page in some text field. And whenever you are using a computer, you may activate that by putting the current computer's hardware ID in the account field. I'll show that. The program to get your hardware ID is available in the forum post, how to download and install QDives. If antivirus program, prevents downloading running this program, you may need to pause or exit the antivirus program temporarily to get the hardware ID. Same as was in case of QGlobal. Let's do that. Let's get the hardware ID for this computer and save it on the license control page. The program to get the hardware ID is on the website sagarnandy.com. Then go to Q install category here. Further, select the subcategory QDIBes install. Then this topic, how to download and install QDIBes. If you scroll to the bottom, you will see the hardware info QH. Download that. It has downloaded. Let's go to download folder. Hardware info QH, compressed file. Inside the compressed file, there is an application. Run that. It's not an often used program, so Windows may give a warning. That's fine. Click more info. Run anyway. And all it will do is look at the hardware and generate a hardware ID. Copy it to clipboard. Remember, I could download this program onto my computer. If you could not, that might be because the antivirus program is preventing download. In that case, pause or terminate the antivirus program for a minute. Once you run this and copy the code to clipboard by clicking this button, you may immediately reactivate antivirus program again. So I have the code. Now I will save it on the personalized download page. Personalized download page has these two fields. Use any of the fields and paste the hardware ID. And it is in fact the same one that I have already saved under account 1. This is just for demonstration. If you didn't have the same hardware ID, you might put it in any of the fields. I will not save it again. It's already there in account 1. And just like in the case of QGlobal, if you go to contact information, we have many text fields. Similar to QGlobal, I have saved all the QH hardware IDs with tags. One for Lenovo, one for desktop, one for Asus. Currently, it is desktop. So whenever you are changing computer, maybe traveling using laptop, maybe Asus laptop, copy this, not the tag, just the code, hardware code, and paste it in the account number field. Any one of them. Usually you will have one used up by global, one used up by Edge Vital Index QDIBes. So it is already there for my current computer. I'm not saving it again. If you are changing it, remember to click the update button. No harm doing that. Remember to click the update button and maybe click the refresh button after that. I'm using the browser refresh, or change to another tab to make sure that the code is saved. If after installing QDIBes, you see it is saying license not valid, then you may check if the hardware ID is saved properly or not. License activation. So we have completed license activation now. Next is validation. Close and reopen Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel. So I will close it again. And remember, I mentioned this earlier also, icon does not need to be running. Just open Refinitiv icon Microsoft Excel, not the icon program. That is not required. So to save bandwidth, you may not run icon unless you are using icon program for alert, etc. most of the Q traders I know, they don't use Icon for alert. They probably use their own brokerage systems. Because I trade in multiple countries using multiple brokerages, I find it is easier for me to set alerts on stocks in a centralized place. So I use Icon for that, but most other Q traders trade in one country, mostly in the US, so they may not need to use Icon. If you are not using Icon, you may not open it to save bandwidth. So it is not required for Q types. So I'll close Icon Microsoft Excel and open again. And note this, if you are running QDives programs and you get a server error, unexpected error, some of these errors, that indicates that the system did not get a response from Refinitiv server. Nothing is to be done from the installation side. Nothing is to be done on QDives programs as such. They are all working. These errors mean that Refinitiv server did not send a response. We cannot do anything about it. Usually, you may refresh the data by clicking the pause and then play. That resends the request again to Refinitiv. Usually a second or a third attempt will get the response from Refinitiv. Now, I have seen on few days when there is heavy load on the servers, and that is true not only for Refinitiv, it is true for any brokerage system. If there is sudden and unexpected move in the market, a lot of people try to log in at the same time. So for TradeStation also, sometimes you may get blocked for a while. You may not log in immediately when you try to. Same for Thinkorswim, same for Refinitiv. On some busy days, you may keep this message for several minutes. But nothing is to be done from our side. You may pause and play, and if you wanted to exit the program, open again, that's fine, but that's not really required. All you need is to pause and play. We have to see when the load is low enough for a new user to make connection to Refinitiv. I don't expect that error to come today. Today market is not that volatile yet. If it comes, it will not be bad to demonstrate, but it doesn't come every time. It's an error from the server side. So we will open Refinitiv Icon Microsoft Excel and then open the QDives programs and check they are retrieving data properly, and then the installation will be complete. Let's do that. Let me close Refinitiv Icon Excel, open it again. When you close and open again, then we make sure that the hardware ID that we set is now in effect. So I open the program, and you see I am not actually going to Refinitiv menu and trying to make connection. I'll just go to my pinned program. Let's open QEdge. And when I run the Dives programs, I run them in a particular sequence. Edge is always running, and I want to keep Edge on the left in the taskbar. So I always open Edge first, then Vital, then Season, and lastly Finder if I'm using Finder. If I'm using Diary, I open Diary the last. Once I have taken my trades, I have logged them in the diary, then I may close diary. I try not to keep things open that clutters the monitor, also takes bandwidth. So my sequence of opening the programs, first Edge, then Vital, then Season, then Finder if I'm using Finder, and lastly Diary. So let me do some of them. Open QEdge. When I will click the play button, it will automatically connect. So I didn't have to go to the menu option for Refinitiv and connect to Refinitiv. Now, first time when you open any of the QDives programs, it will give a message, be careful, it's from internet because you downloaded it. You choose enable editing. This is expected to come only first time, but even if it comes next time, always choose enable editing. Then also for the first time, it may ask us to enable macros. Security warning, macros have been disabled. No, then it will not work. We have to enable the macros. Lot of processing is done through the macros. So enable content. This is expected to come only first time, but if it comes second time also for some reason, always choose enable content. When they are downloaded, the processing status is off. Let me click the play button. Now it is on, meaning connection with Refinitiv has already been established. Now it is retrieving data for the US market. I'll not go through the detail of QEdge. There will be separate session for that. Now, while it is retrieving, I may go to my pinned tab and also open Vital. I may also open Season. For each of the types programs, it will give the same message first time. Enable editing, we choose that, and then we'll also choose enable macros. That is enable content. Enable content is same as enable macros. Let's choose a stock for QVital to see it is working properly. SkyWest airline stocks. And you may remember that I discussed it recently. While it is processing, I don't have to wait. I can go to pinned and open Season. Again, enable editing, enable content. Let's get the seasonality for Apple. And while it is processing, the last file that I may check for pinned, go to index. Let's go to index. Now, usually you don't need to open all of them to validate if installation is successful. Usually if Edge is running, all the other programs will also run because they use the same mechanism to connect to icon. I enabled content and enabled editing for index also. Let's check how NASDAQ 100 is doing. That's fine. Go back to QEdge. Okay, the status is updated. When you see status is updated, then we know it is working properly. Today is actually a bullish day, very bullish compared to yesterday. That's good. So QEdge is running. Once we see the updated with current date stamp, 11:47 AM, then we know Edge is running. We may go to the industries if we wanted to, but not required. Once you see the updated status is coming here, then we know it is working. So we don't have to look at the detail. It's not a session on QEdge. Fine, let's go to Vital. Once we see the SkyWest detail retrieved, then we know it Vital is running. Airlines is quite strong. If I go to season, okay, season, Apple seasonality data is filled. Incidentally, Apple has not 80%, but 70% bullish seasonality in October. But this is not a class on seasonality. Seasonality is working. And index is bullish today, NASDAQ 100. not a lot, but in any case, purpose was to check if Q index is running. That is also running successfully. So we have completed, I think, all the steps. QDives installation is complete. What did we do today? Let's go to the topics again, just to summarize. We downloaded the latest version from the personalized download page, installed it. That is quite simple. Place the Excel files and DLL files in the appropriate folders. License activation, put the hardware ID, generate it using the downloaded program, save it on the personalized download page only once, and to validate, close Refinitiv Excel, open, and then run the programs, play to see if they're coming properly. That is all for today's session, how to install the QDives programs. Now we have covered the underlying platforms and the installation for almost all the Q programs except Q Global Market Breadth. Now Q Global Market Breadth is not used by everybody. Let me think. If I start with the actual programs one by one, or I do Q Global Market Breadth installation, I may not do Q Global Market Breadth installation right now. Instead, I will start with the Q programs one by one. I will try to have it early next week, Monday or Tuesday. I'll announce the date time by email and the link also. Thanks once again for joining. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Have a great day, and as always, trade profitably. Thank you.